Have you ever just stopped and noticed that your mind is, well, never really still? There's this constant forward lean to your experience, right? A feeling of always being on the edge of the next moment. Today, we're going to dive into a really cool framework that actually gives a name and a structure to this universal human feeling.
It all kicks off with this incredibly simple but really profound observation. At our very core, we are always looking for something. And this isn't just about, finding your keys or trying to remember a word. This simple sentence is the key to unlocking the very architecture of our consciousness.
So let's start with this main idea. Our consciousness isn't just some passive thing that sits there receiving information. Nope. It's an active, relentless search engine. It's constantly projecting into the future, trying to figure out how this exact moment is going to unfold.
Now this search isn't just one simple thing. It's got 3 different layers to it. First up, you've got temporal orientation. Basically, we're never just in the now. We're always looking at how it's developing. Second, there's the normative dimension. We're not just neutral observers here. We actually care about the outcome. We want things to go in a good way. And finally, processuality. We experience reality as this dynamic flow, not just a bunch of static pictures.
Okay, so this immediately brings up a huge question. If we're always searching, if our minds are always navigating, then what's the map? I mean, what is the actual terrain where all of this searching is even happening?
And this is where this framework gets really powerful. It gives us that map. It provides a name and a solid structure for this mental terrain. It's not just some vague feeling anymore. It's a landscape that we can actually navigate.
And here it is. The terrain is called the solution space. Just think of it as this massive, high-dimensional space of every possible outcome, every idea, every potential solution. All of a sudden, our search isn't just aimless wandering. It's a directed exploration through this incredible landscape of possibilities.
And what's so brilliant about this model is that it works at every single scale. At the cognitive level, your own private thoughts are just you navigating this space. At the interactive level, a conversation is you and someone else trying to map this space out together. And then, at a meta level, the conversation itself is a search for the best, most efficient path through all the possible meanings you could create. Okay, so if we have a map, the solution space, what are the tools we're using to navigate it? Especially when we're trying to do it with somebody else. How do we coordinate our search so we're on the same page? Well, the framework calls these tools Placebo-Pipes. Think of a conversation or a shared Google Doc, or really any kind of structured interaction. These are temporary pipes we build between our minds to get in sync and move through the solution space together. They create the shared context we need.
And you've totally seen how these tools evolve over time, right? When you first start talking to someone about a new topic, the pipe is really clunky and visible. You need to coordinate everything explicitly, and there's a ton of overhead. But as you build that shared context, the pipe becomes transparent. The coordination is implicit, the overhead just drops, and you just get each other.
This leads us to a really counterintuitive but super powerful idea. The entire goal of these tools, these placebo pipes, is to eventually make themselves invisible, to pretty much make themselves obsolete.
So, here's the crucial point. These structures aren't the end goal. They are just temporary scaffolding. It's exactly like a construction site, right? You put up all the scaffolding to build the building, but once that structure is solid, you take it all down. The conversation is the scaffolding. The shared understanding is the building itself.
You can even think about this like a just-in-time or JIT compiler in a computer. At first, you need that slow, clunky layer. That's the explicit pipe. But your brain starts profiling the conversation, noticing the common pathways. It then compiles them, optimizing away the pipe until you get to what you could call native execution, a direct, high-bandwidth transfer of ideas with almost zero overhead. It's amazing.
And hey, this isn't just a metaphor. This exact process happens in technology. The graphics library DirectFB was famous for doing this. It systematically got rid of its own abstraction layers, its own pipes, to give apps direct, blazing fast access to the hardware. It's the exact same principle. You get rid of the scaffolding to get maximum performance. So the goal is perfect efficiency, a totally seamless transfer of thought. But as we get closer and closer to this ideal state, a final, really critical question pops up from this framework. What's the potential downside here? This path is exactly what we're aiming for. We're trying to move from that high overhead communication, where everything has to be spelled out, to a state of optimized understanding, where the overhead is tiny and the information flow is just pure. It's the journey from being strangers to being old friends who can finish each other's sentences. And this brings us right to the potential cost of all this perfection.
When our pipes for understanding become so optimized, so transparent, that they basically disappear, do we lose something really important? Do we lose the ability to stop, to check our assumptions, and to debug a misunderstanding? So what might we be losing when that scaffolding is gone for good?